Welcome to another episode of Husbands Watching Housewives. I'm Scott.
And I'm Jeff.
And we just watched an episode of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City.
Yes.
Via Palm Springs.
Via Palm Springs. There's one scene in Salt Lake.
There's one scene, and Mary clearly wanted her paycheck.
Yes.
She was like, I need to be in this episode.
You know, Heather was pissed, like, watching this episode, like, where am I?
Yeah, I thought for sure there would be at least Heather and
Brittany's scene, like, going to lunch, talking about everyone, what they're doing.
Like, similar to Zach and what's her face?
Kristen.
On the Valley.
When they all went to, like, was it Big Bear? Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did not get a paycheck this episode.
Did not. So much happened in this episode.
So many layers.
Like, I was so happy with myself at the beginning. I was like, oh, I'm going to remember all this. And then I did not remember all this.
It'll come to us as we go.
Well,
it usually happens.
Before we go, I do have to say, episode 101 isn't as fun as episode 100.
Well, the episode of the show we watched was more interesting.
Yeah.
Not that bad talk Roni. Everyone does that enough for us.
Yeah.
But there's so much more time here.
No, but hour 100 and for
right.
It's kind of, it's not a letdown. It's anticlimactic. 100 such a woo, and then today's like 101.
101's good.
It is good. It's true.
Because it's a new chapter. It's getting to 200.
We're not going to make it. Well, we'll make it 200, but we're going to reset season 2 next year.
Oh.
So then I'll have to start doing weird math. But anyway.
Are we still in season 1?
We're still in season 1.
Okay.
I think until next year. I think we're...
So season 2 starts in
2025,
January.
Yeah.
Got it.
Exactly. So for those of you joining us, thank you very much for joining us. Please like, subscribe, follow us on the socials media. And let us know you're watching. Tell us we're awful. Tell us we're great.
Right.
Tell me I'm funny looking. I am.
You're not funny looking. You're just funny.
And tell us what you thought about this episode of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City.
Yes.
Was it too much? Was it not enough? Did you miss Heather? Did you? No.
Did you miss Brittany?
Did you miss
Maylee?
Yeah, I don't think you did. I did. Heather's absence was felt. Like, I could tell there was something missing.
Because she's normally the voice, the narrator of the show.
Right. And so having kind of 2 episodes that really did not center around her definitely felt like an experiment.
Right.
One that, like, I'm fine with. But at the same time, she definitely would have added something. I think it showed me anyway that, like, I don't think that Salt Lake would be the same show without her. Like, Lisa Barlow can't carry a show on her own.
Well, she's just not likable enough to do so. But I just, I don't like Lisa most of the time. I see her value to the show. Same with Heather.
Mm-hmm.
It's an ensemble. It can't just be like the Angie show or the Meredith show, thank God, or the Lisa show. So you need all the characters. And yeah, it was weird. Having that little snippet of Mary, which is like a weird scene to begin with.
Yes, walking into the 2 of them laying in bed eating
donuts.
Like, it wasn't just a donut. It seemed like to be multiple donuts.
And like Mary went under the covers.
Yeah.
And they pulled them back, and they're like, Mary's like, I don't know where to start.
I think me watching Mary in that scene was kind of like I was thinking, Mary's weird enough as it is.
Yes.
So Mary's probably watching this going, what the hell? Like, I'm weird. What the hell is this?
What are you doing?
Yeah.
I also feel like it's the first time we've seen like a clear shot of his wife.
Yeah.
They're always like, it's in profile or,
she's wearing a hood.
Right.
Yeah.
It's yeah. I don't know what to think.
For all we know, she could be a replacement. She could be like this year, the part of his wife,
like Maybe with the Vampire.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, whatever we saw the first year is not the same person. So
suddenly she's like, "Hello, Miss Cosby."
For the benefit of the doubt, I'll say it's the same girl. Because why would they change it up?
Right.
That was just very awkward because, like, yeah, she goes in there and starts asking about when they cleaned up last time, and it just seemed
and giving a pep talk about you got to be ready for the world.
Yeah.
And when she was saying he used to be so ambitious, I'm like,
wow.
I don't know him, but we really don't know much of him. Right. So maybe he was, but it was, yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot. So luckily they didn't spend much more time on that.
Right.
If they had revisited that and made a whole
I thought they were. I thought they were going to come back from commercial and be like, so
yeah.
how was that donut?
It was just enough was enough. I'm not someone who really worries about getting crumbs on things, as you're well aware, as you've reminded me often on the couch.
Right.
But even like in bed, like I will eat potato chips in bed. I will eat cookies in bed. When I was
don't. Yeah. When you're but like,
and if you were like go on a vacation without me, I would be laying in our bed eating cookies.
One,
but
it wouldn't happen going on vacation without you. Two, I would hope you wouldn't be eating cookies in our bed, getting crumbs everywhere. Three, we have a perfectly nice kitchen and a dining room and a couch.
It hits different when you're laying in bed. But that being said, watching them eat those, like, also
there's like
they were pulling over the donuts too. Like, and I was worrying about the crumbs. It was just a really awkward scene.
Something was they weren't. And he was giggly and didn't know when he last bathed or combed his hair. And it was very sus.
Yeah, it was.
And hopefully we get to the root of that. It's in the trailer, the mid-season trailer.
It does, yeah.
She kind of, It looks great, too.
The mid-season?
No. Oh. The trailer, but also Mary.
Oh, yeah, no.
In that scene, yeah.
It does look good.
We'll get to that.
Before we get to the complications of Palm Springs, I think we can just summarize, basically, we can just get Meredith out of the way.
Yeah,
because I just get jumping straight to her conversation with Shawn about the whole Brooks of it all. Can we go there?
Oh yeah.
Look at me like you didn't want to.
Oh no.
I know I'm making a sudden jump.
No, it's I think we better because there's so many.
Exactly.
That's how we remember it all.
I think it was a reach. I really liked the way Shawn handled it. I think that when Seth pulled out the clickbait, I think it was appropriately handled by everyone to be like, no, that's not evidence of what Shawn said. That's clickbait. Like if you read the article or listen to the podcast, you'll hear what he said.
Also, the title was not in quotes, so therefore it didn't come directly from Shawn.
Yeah.
It was what the producers of Reality T put together as a headline.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why the Marxists didn't get that. And what he was saying made sense. I think what he was basically saying is that, and you said it the other day, last year, these rumors were started about him being gay, Shawn being gay, and Meredith somehow made it as, I would not do that, and I wouldn't speak to someone disparagingly about being gay because I have a gay son. And Shawn took that as, you're using your son as like a shield, or not his, he didn't say pawn, those were their words.
Yeah.
But you're still using him to kind of like hide behind your bad behavior because what you thought was going to land didn't land. But I have to say, the Meredith of it all was more so just like general like rumors about the husband. It was Monica who was saying, the streets are saying he's gay.
That's true.
So I think he was aiming that at the wrong person, but the sentiment was still there. She was being shady. She got called on it. She took it as him clapping back and saying things about her son, which he didn't say, and he wouldn't say. He wouldn't talk negatively about someone's child, period. And so when he was so logical and level-headed about it, she did not know what to do with it. And so she backpedaled, was like, well, I guess that's what I'm going to get from him. And now I know who you are. Like trying to be all like, Oprah, like, well, people show you who they really are. No, not in this case. Not in this case.
Yeah.
You showed who you really are, like, many a time, and yeah.
Well, no, and then I thought it was good for him to be like, we had that conversation, and I left it thinking it was fine. And it,
also logical.
Yes.
A logical thing that she couldn't, like, say, well, I want to have a moment now.
Right.
Without breaking the wall.
She could have. So she was like, well, and it is a valid thing to be like, leave a conversation and then, go home, think about it and be like, no, I don't feel good about how that conversation went. So, I mean, I'm not debating for that.
Leave. She was still in her feelings and they were still in the same damn party and she could have addressed it. You know what? I don't think that's enough. I still feel like I'm owed an apology for what you said about my son.
Right.
And they could have addressed it then. Instead, she chose a moment to be like, well, Shawn, I have some issues with you. And he was like, rightfully so, like, I'm irritated. That's dumb.
Very, very much so.
I'm glad you said that.
I like that they did not just let the Seth Marks biatch of it all go. I like that they brought it up later when he wasn't around, so they could be like, what was with that?
And I thought, like, looking at the trailer, I thought he was, like, directing it at Shawn.
Right.
But, like, they didn't show, like, the Whitney saying, like, show the proof, which Whitney could have just stayed out of it.
I kind of like that she was in it, though. I like that she wasn't good.
Yeah, it wasn't horrible, but it also didn't warrant, like, a biatch. And as Shawn explained, That's him calling them bitches.
Thank you for the thanks.
So much mansplaining in this episode.
Oh yeah, and then
John Barlow.
John Barlow, like,
let's settle this, ladies.
yeah, like,
Lisa, did you say something? No. Whitney, did you say something? Now we're all good.
yeah. Oh, thanks, sir. I'm glad you were here.
You solved Housewives.
Yes.
End of episode.
Can you please be a producer? So, yeah, that was very cringy, the whole biatch thing. Also, them showing up to that party, the dinner party, him wearing that hat.
I mean,
He could have tried a little bit harder.
like, you didn't have to have a suit, but like, you didn't need to, like, yeah. And then just like summing up their story of, you're always away and you're always working. Does she mean something behind that? Is there some subtext? Or is it just he's always working and ignoring her?
I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel like I'm married to you because you're never here.
And I'm the only one trying here.
Yeah.
Yeah, help me, help us. Yeah.
Unless she is trying to say he's got a side piece in Columbus. But
I don't.
does anyone really want a side piece in Columbus?
Hey, don't disparage Columbus. We might have some viewers.
No, I don't think Ohio.
I can never roll up sleeves, right?
You can't. But I'm hoping everyone's enjoying this. Watching, you do it. I think you got to start.
Flannel.
Here, do you want me to do it for you? Here,
Yeah.
come on, here. We keep talking. What else were we doing? Angie?
They didn't really. I mean, aside from Shawn's thing, they didn't really do much. She was just cute, and drawn.
Flannel. I don't think. I think you're fine.
Okay.
Your guns are too big to,
Hardly.
make that work.
My chubby forearms.
What? Who has a chubby forearms? What is that for a quality of anyone where you're like, oh, look at their chubby forearms?
That's horrible.
Yes.
It's like,
I would date that guy, but he's got chubby forearms. That's gross.
Side note, listeners, I'm still sick. Sorry for the nasally voice. I did not take NyQuil, so I'll be more lucid.
Yeah. Very good. I agree.
Yeah, Angie didn't really do much.
She's fun.
She's fun.
She was there.
The Newlywed Game.
Oh yeah, that's so dumb. I'm so over housewife games on trips and
Like games at all, and
in general, I don't like the planned games. Like my mom would do it during like holidays, and it's like, oh, we were all having fun, and now we have to like pay attention to something.
right.
And it's always just an excuse to like cause drama or get some sort of sexy thing in there, and it's never. I could go without it.
Yeah.
No more old Hollywood parties, and no more games, and no more props.
Because now I have this visual of like Lisa and John Barlow having sex because he really put it out there and then added bouncing.
Yeah.
Thank you, John Barlow. You were prized this episode.
Apparently, Lisa, it's like it's her job. It's not just Bronwyn.
I could see it because it's a control position.
I don't know. You can put it in my head. I don't want that.
She can, yeah.
Whitney and Justin didn't really have anything going on this episode other than counting in it,
There were the apologies between.
which was nice.
But I'm glad that she said something and didn't just let him apologize.
Right.
And not say, in so many words, I shouldn't have like come over to you and brought you and, dragged you into it.
Yeah.
That was good. And Whitney was definitely like, oh, you're apologizing? We didn't discuss this. When you were steaming my dress.
Yeah.
But okay, we've apologized. Let's put a button on this. And
I don't know. I mean,
so I'm glad. I don't want to hear about Alibaba. I know it's going to come up again. Alibaba, Prism, blah, 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 blah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that just really leaves these two stars of these particular episodes, which is Lisa and Bronwyn.
Right.
Which, I mean, to say, for a first-year housewife to be like so front and center.
So much.
Many episodes now.
Planned a big group trip, is just involved with everybody.
Yeah.
Took on one of the main characters and didn't back down.
Yeah.
Didn't back down.
And isn't even backing down from Lisa. Like she's definitely trying to hold Lisa accountable to everything and even went back. I don't know why she tried to do it at the little
the
racetrack thing where it was just loud. Like, let's sit down, let's talk about it, where no one can hear me. Almost like we were at a Milwaukee Bucks game.
Well, Lisa should have taken her side ages ago. Instead she chose to do it at the table, and then Whitney jumped in, and then
I thought Todd was going to crap himself and just
I said no more drama on this trip.
Yeah, I'm just was surprised anyone started going off on anything around Todd.
Yeah.
I feel bad for him. Like,
Yeah, what do we think is going on with Todd?
I think he's just an old man who has no limit for no patience for BS. Like, he doesn't want to be part of it. It's stupid that
at his age, he doesn't want to play these regular games.
And I think on top of it, I shouldn't. He's got to be somewhat social anxiety. Socially awkward, yeah.
I don't think it's awkward. It's just like when you're used to like having things your own way, and then you have people who are like being asses in your opinion. Right. You're going to be like, why are you doing that? That's not how I have this trip planned. Well, it was like, he wasn't thinking of it as a housewives trip. He was thinking as like, this is our trip. We're inviting these like...
It's our anniversary, yeah.
These co-workers of my wives for this like getaway / work trip. And now you're like making my wife unhappy, which makes me unhappy.
I think that there is a level of he expects things a certain way, and probably when it's just he and Bronwyn, it all goes that way. She probably caters and probably does what she can do to make him feel okay and good about things, like in their day-to-day life when they're together alone. And it's just when things don't go his way, I think he might be turning into a little bit of a crybaby whiny pants.
Curmudgeon.
I'm going to say crybaby whiny pants.
Okay, that works too.
And you can tell there's an element of it because, like, you know, they clearly start talking about it in the second half of the season a little bit more because with Heather, like, I don't like the way he treats her. Like, it seems to be...
I'm going to call it now, as if you give a damn.
No, I agree with that.
You just want to bring this up to, like poke
embarrass her, exactly.
Totally.
But at the same time, I think there is something valid that, like, you know, you were like wondering, is he like a Tom Girardi situation?
Well, I think last week I said he wasn't. It wasn't to that point. But now, like, seeing tonight's episode, there is, as Meredith said it, so as well as she could, there's some sort of tension, there's some sort of like whatever. But I think it's what you're saying is that he's used to it like being like, what I say goes. Bronwyn like says, okay, cool, and we move on. And that's not happening, and I'm not getting my way, and I'm made to be uncomfortable. And you know, but I think it's also too like she doesn't necessarily love doing everything his way.
Oh, for sure. But
and now is, you know,
I think a lot of it is that she doesn't have to do it his way. Like, and I'm not saying that like she doesn't want to do things his way. It's that he's not around often enough,
right?
Where it's like really an inconvenience for her. So it's like when he is around, she's just like, okay, I can do this your way. I'm happy to see you. This is how you like things. Like, I'm not going to make an issue out of it. Like, I'd like to do it my way, but I can do it my way when you're gone. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But then when there's other people around to witness that and kind of see it removed from their own little day-to-day or their own little understanding of their relationship, it can be a little awkward from an outside perspective.
Because he seems a little cold towards her. Like, you know, you're like wondering like, but then there must be affection. He cares about her. He cares about Gwen as his stepdaughter, but don't try to pick up the cat. Don't try to pick up the... Oh, see, now...
my daughter.
Oh, poor Gabs.
Oh, but she comes up here and she just looks all cute and she needs to be on camera.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, doesn't she? Oh, yeah.
Gabs. Yeah, so I was getting some Tom Girardi vibes. Did she scratch it?
A little bit. I'm fine.
Did she hurt your sweater?
The sweater's fine. Luckily, the sweater is like a little bit of a chainmail. It's very heavy.
So it was awkward to watch.
I don't think though that anyone should really be for the future episodes. Just don't worry about your own relationships.
But you know, because Heather doesn't like her, she will jump all over that shit. Like you see her at that party, like listening in to their whole like awkward, you know, abrupt conversation, and Heather, I'm sure, it's like, I cannot wait to bring this up to the group.
I mean, I wish that wasn't the case. And I'm sure Bronwyn wishes it wasn't the case. That it was such an eggshell situation with Todd at times. But like, that's just how it is. They've been together for 10 years, and that's just, you know, it's not like he's beating her or, you know,
right,
or treating her poorly. He treats her very well. It's just like when things don't go his way, he's got a short. Yeah, I don't want to say a short fuse, but like he's got a short limit of patience for when things don't go his way.
Todd ain't got time for that. When it comes down to it.
Yeah,
but he will give her a $4 million necklace.
Oh, can we talk about that?
It was a little gaudy.
It's not proportionate to her, as we were talking about during the show. I think that would be better, and I'm not saying this to disparage her lack of rack. I'm just saying I think that necklace, the size of those diamonds, just looked like costume jewelry.
It did. It looked fake.
Like, I think if she were a larger woman that had like a rack, like a shelf of bosom,
it would have rested.
It would have rested, and I think it would have displayed and like caught the light. But it was just kind of hanging there, and just like had these giant, like the diamonds were like the size of teeth.
Yes.
And it just didn't look right on her.
It looked costume. It looked like 80s rapper.
Yeah.
She should have just gone with the earrings. Those are like, look at my earrings,
Yeah.
But
yeah, because I just that also maybe it looked better, wore better in person. But
I don't think so.
But like it just it looked. And
with that dress, the dress was like fine enough, and then like adding that heavy necklace took away from the dress.
And it also kind of made it look like she's wearing like a bike chain around her neck. Like it didn't really look all that expensive,
totally.
And apparently it was $4 million. So
yeah.
I think the $1.4 million earrings would have been.
Yeah, I would have given that
definitely
back.
I'm glad we got to that.
Yes.
I was had a very big.
What's wrong with that? Oh, now we know. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
What else?
I'd say talking about Heather because no one else would, and she's not featured. But I think the other thing that bothers Heather is that Bronwyn is as smart as her.
Oh.
Heather's used to being the smartest one in the room and being like sometimes calculating, but also just like she knows how to get to point A, point B. She's very clever and good with her words.
Mm-hmm.
And Bronwyn's like, I'm not backing down. I'm the same. And it's like, I think Heather's like, shit. Because at least with Monica was quick and smart too, but she would just go low and like lose the fight on the fact that she just like went low for like the basest remark,
which is what Lisa seems to be doing lately as well.
Yeah,
like in the after shows apparently, and then some of the things she's been calling out are people's look, people dress.
And she talked about like Shawn being short. Table. Dude, the man's hotter than your husband. Sorry, John Barlow, but like having a height doesn't like. I mean, and he's just like, I was a lame.
She doesn't have the best reads.
No, well, she was trying to get that 100 proof thing that like
she's had that written for years.
Of course.
Like I have more proof of my tequila.
And what about like Todd like saying like it's mediocre? That was so good. I'm so glad they caught that.
That was very, very good. The volleyball scene, well, we mentioned hot.
Oh, yeah.
I'm glad they did it. A little tongue-in-cheek Top Gun thing. I thank you for trying to get some sort of like Top Gun-like music with it, but I'd really rather they just had used some Housewives. I could have used some Mormon like choir instead of their like fake, Danger Zone playing with the boys. Like, give me real Kenny Loggins or no Kenny Loggins.
Here's what I'm trying to say. And then I just did say that he was not as hot as Shawn. I mean, he has a good body, John Barlow. And Shawn has a good body.
Seth had as good of a body as he did. Like, we've seen him in a bathtub before, but I don't remember being like, oh, look at him.
Right. It's fine. I mean, Justin's fine too, Yeah. I think Justin's maybe lost a little bit of weight since last year.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I like how you pointed out that like you said at one point like, oh please, Todd, like you're gonna hit the ball.
Oh God, yeah. Like he was all like
background like, same way that if I was playing, I'd be like, no, you guys, I'll be over here. You got this.
Yeah, I got the end zone. Is there an end zone?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't know.
The line.
There's something. I was never good at any sports.
I was okay at volleyball because I was tall back in the
Well, you still are tall.
But for taller than people like in high school, so I could like hit it over the net. That was my thing. I sucked at serving though, but I could definitely be like, boop.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I think I was hit in the head with a volleyball once. Like one of the guys in high school, like intentionally threw a volleyball at my head. Just be like, oh, look at him.
I once ducked a ball and it like landed the point to the other team, and like my team got mad at me, and I was like, sorry, I was really embarrassed by that. Just had that flashback.
Oh, I'm glad I could help you with that. Yeah, how does that compare to being bullied? You hit with a volleyball on purpose, huh?
Oh.
Well, how's that work? No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding.
Sorry, I just totally like didn't listen to your pain and moved on to my own.
Look, that
was horrible.
We're going to talk about that for the next 6 weeks, okay? No, and we'll have a reunion and we'll...
It'll be okay now, but then you won't be okay.
Right, exactly. So then I think we've talked about Lisa all around and around.
Well,
everyone else.
When they finally have the scene with just the two of them,
Oh,
Bronwyn and
yeah.
Lisa. And it's like, Lisa, just own your shit. Just be like, I think you're two-faced right now. I don't have the greatest, I'm not in the best place with you. Instead of being like, well, from Meredith's
Especially,
perspective, well,
it's like if Bronwyn was giving her carte blanche, like you tell, like now's the time to say it to me. Like if you don't think I'm genuine or you think I'm true, just say it. And
Yeah.
she wouldn't say it. It's so dumb.
it's like, you're not terrifying, but I can't say that you're not two-faced.
Did you catch? I don't think I pointed out we were watching. I liked how Bronwyn said, "I feel like now that I'm friends with your friends, that our relationship has changed."
Oh, I missed.
Which was her way of saying, now that I'm on this show,
Yeah.
our relationship has changed. Like,
Yeah.
there's something you don't like about me being on this show.
Like, we've been good for 10 years, but now that I'm in your world and I'm not like bowing down to you or ride or dying with you,
Right.
now I'm a problem.
Or now that I have a horse in this race and I'm
Right.
just listening to you talk about it all the time, and like now that I can push back and say that like the stories you're telling me, now I have a point of view in these stories.
Right.
Like you're just not.
But the thing is, like, up until now, Bronwyn's been very respectful of the person who brought her onto the show.
Very demure as well.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes. And saying like, that's not the Lisa that I know, or like, Lisa's, a great friend of me.
Mhm.
And, Lisa hasn't given her that same grace.
No.
And it's really telling about who cares more about this friendship. And I think you're right. She's in Lisa's world and Lisa's like put off by it because this is not how she thought this would go.
Right. And I also feel like Lisa really wanted to like explain something about like why she's up Heather's ass the way she is.
Right.
For the sake of the show, there's a reason behind it.
Right.
And that like I need to be, oh, she did scratch me.
Oh.
Why did you let me pick up the cat? Anyway,
Hey, may I let you eat all those cookies?
I'm gonna eat more of those cookies.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna have to take those to work if I stay home tomorrow.
Seriously.
But anyway, yeah, I think that there's definitely, reasons that you could tell Lisa kind of was like, I want to just tell her, but,
Yeah.
So either way, it's all kind of just lame, I think. Like, I don't know why. I don't know why Lisa did
She hasn't really done anything. Yeah. And Bronwyn hasn't really done anything to her.
Right.
Which, let's go back to the dinner table with the whole Gwen thing that Todd shut. I love how Angie was like, let's talk about something else. How about Gwen and her grandparents? And Todd's like, no, we're not talking about that. Like, they haven't really brought that up. And also Bronwyn, not to her face. So like Lisa didn't really follow up with her about the grandparents thing and hasn't really checked in with her about it. But to her face was like, Lisa, didn't mean to step in it and da-da-da. And Todd, you can tell, had a lot of feelings for how Lisa handled things. And because I think in his mind, it's like the grandparents are wrong.
Yeah. Oh.
Like 100%. And like, why is she friends with these people? And now he's lumping Lisa in, I think, with the grandparents. And that's why he doesn't like her and her mediocre tequila.
Probably a good read on
Yeah.
that. Probably.
Yeah.
But also the fact that like it isn't something that was going well. That like the experiment of like Gwen trying to get in touch with the grandparents did not go well.
Yeah.
And so it is a personal thing, and I think for it's not polite chit chat at a dinner table.
No.
Like
Angie didn't get all the background.
No.
So
and I think Angie was very quick to be like, oh, I am so sorry. Like,
let me step back, because she's good about that.
Right. I think had the roles been reversed, that been like Lisa or even Whitney, probably they might have doubled down and been like, oh, well, it's such a big important thing, we should talk about it.
Yeah. Not at my dinner table. When he flips the table.
Yeah. And Teresa's the whole damn thing.
Tell her.
My Teresa.
She Katy Perry roaring.
Let's not talk about Katy Perry.
No matter what they take from me.
Oh, she changed the words.
I mean, girl.
No good.
Don't approach Whitney.
But I feel like there's so much more nuance this episode that's why we're talking like maybe we do have to start taking notes. I don't want to make notes, but maybe for these like action-packed episodes,
well, let's review. I mean, we had like the awkward lunch. We got all to that. The Seth and Meredith, You have Seth and Meredith and Shawn of it all.
We didn't really talk about the reaction to being asked to leave, but it really didn't go anywhere.
Because they like backed down. Well, didn't back down.
They didn't even acknowledge that there was really an issue. Oh, yeah. That's what it was, is that she's like, oh, the problem was Whitney. It's like,
oh, what was that about?
Yeah. It's like, oh, Todd says, we have to leave if we can't work it out. It's like, oh, well, the problem was Whitney. And it's like, what? I don't even remember Whitney saying anything.
She didn't. Whitney, didn't even instigate it, and she went and checked in on Bronwyn after the fact, and then quickly scurried off when Todd stormed in.
But when Lisa said that, I was just like, are you just so desperate to blame something on Whitney? Or just like, and I guess Lisa kind of brought it back later to be like, I'm still upset that you're calling me a liar, and that's kind of what they hashed out at the lunch what John Barlow hashed out at the lunch for them. But yeah, I mean, I expected way more acknowledgement, but that's, again, I think Lisa bothers me is that she just won't own up to her shit.
Yes.
And it seems to be a theme, well, with me in general, because there's other shows where people aren't owning up to their shit, and that bothers me too.
And it would solve so many problems if they did.
Yeah, yes. Exactly. It's again, my hatred of plots in movies where it's all predicated on a misunderstanding.
Yes.
Like if we just clear up the misunderstanding, the movie's over. But
how do you like Three's Company?
Because that's just, I mean, that's such a throwaway show, and it's 20 minutes of your life, and
not a whole 2 hours.
Yeah, exactly. A 2-hour movie.
Watch a marathon.
Yeah. Oh. Also, how dare you ask me how I like Three's Company? How do you not like Three's Company?
I think you could be a crazy person.
You only watch the seasons that don't have Terry and Cindy.
Because those are the better seasons. You need Suzanne Summers. I know it's an ensemble, but the three of them work so well together. And with the Ropers, not to disparage Don Knotts, but they did the Ropers dirty.
Well, I mean, Larry did have a bit more of a role after, the Ropers left.
True. But I mean, did we? No offense to Richard Klein. He was still alive, still with us. But I could have done with more Ropers.
Yeah, that's true.
And not on their spinoff, The Ropers. But I digress.
I still maintain that despite Suzanne Summers and the horrible way she was treated,
yes,
that the show was still great with Cindy and Terry, and that it was still great. Joyce DeWitt, amazing.
Well, I think also too, by the time they got to that time, those characters in those seasons, it was just, the show started showing its age, and the writing wasn't as good because it was just recycling.
Really? I mean, I know that it had good writing, but at what point?
I'm not saying it was freaking Cheers writing, Emmy Award-winning writing, but it was really great chemistry, and you had this setup, and it works so well, but it can only work for so long because there's only so many misunderstandings. So yes, by the time we get to Terry,
right,
and in season 7 or 8, it's not as fun to watch, and I don't enjoy those episodes as much.
Okay, all right, I'll give you that.
Yes,
I love we got Three's Company. This is amazing.
Segue.
I think Three's Company was on so much when I was a kid.
Oh, so
that I even have a love for Free the Crowd. Is that what it was?
Oh, with Jack and
his restaurant, his wife and her dad, and the surfer dude is a cook. So
was it a surfer dude?
Yeah, there was he had hired a cook who was a total blonde surfer, almost like Dauber from Coach. Sorry to bring Coach.
Why didn't they bring Larry into it? Were they just I
don't know. Maybe
he would have been good, Jack's friend who
Larry was there to so they could find babes together.
Oh, but now that
he's married, he's
different dynamic.
Didn't need a wingman.
That's true.
Are there any Three's Company? There must be Three's Company podcasts.
Rewatches?
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have time to start one, but
if they keep up with all these housewives, we certainly do not. But
in our off season, there's never an off season because we're always housewives.
I think we've gotten lost in the sauce here.
We lost it.
So back to Salt Lake City. Oh, then at the end, when they go back and leave.
Oh my God, Coach!
Literally, I can picture the plane they're on, a tiny plane, but Salt Lake is probably, like she said, there's 4 first-class seats. And
it's such a short flight. They're not going to New York in Coach.
Yeah.
They're going from Palm Springs to Salt Lake. It's not that much of a hardship. She was acting as if She was riding in the cargo.
And you can tell that she gets her way and like throws a fit because John was like
already on it.
Well, no, John was already like trying to convince her, but like really you'd rather you have spent a longer time getting home just so you can sit in a bigger seat. And like you could tell that he had no way of just being like, shut up and get on the plane. Like, I don't know which I'd rather want to deal with in my life. It's, you know, someone, like a Todd or a John. Like, Todd would be like, oh, just deal with it, and we'll be there, it'll be fine, versus John, who's like, okay, yeah, let's fly to L.A., and then we'll go home, you know, it just seems...
And then we'll see Henry for dinner tonight, where we could have seen him for lunch.
Yeah, or just had been home and relaxed and not in an airport.
Right.
So, so ridiculous.
It was so dumb.
I mean, I've never flown first class, mainly because the only opportunities I've had to fly first class are, like, from here to L.A. I don't want to fly first class for an hour and have like a great experience and then never get to fly it again and then just be pissed off that I'm not in first class. So I get the allure of it, but for God's sake, like she said she hasn't flown coach since college. Like, how spoiled are you? How out of touch are you?
Supremely out of touch, as we've seen on the after show, on this show.
I mean, I don't know why, like, certain housewives, I'm fine with them being out of touch. It's almost adorable. But with her, it's just infuriating.
Well, I'm sure two people are going to be like, oh, Queen Lisa, she ate about the whole coach thing. But really, it's like, no, it's just a ridiculous thing.
It's a temper tantrum.
Over nothing.
Yeah, especially on whatever flight they were on. I'm trying to think probably a Delta flight. I didn't just Delta even fly to Palm Springs, but back to Salt Lake they might. Anyway, all I'm saying is it's probably not a very fantastic flight or plane to begin with. So who cares? They probably
all assume that they would be flying back on the private jet, but they're like, we can only spend so much money on you people.
Right.
So it's just dumb.
Can we mention how there were other people at the anniversary party and that seemed to shock Lisa?
She was like, who are these extras?
Yeah. Like, I didn't realize I'd have to like behave myself or I'd be judged by people not involved with the show.
And she was underdressed and so thrown off by it. I loved it.
It was pretty nice.
Yeah.
I wish they had shown a little bit more of her regular friends, especially the one who was wearing the Laura Ashley dress because it was such a flower. Like, it was really Little House on the Prairie. But then it was so cold, apparently, that everyone was wearing jackets and stuff.
It looked miserable. Like, they're all like, let's play this newlywed game. Let's have this fight and go inside. I can't deal with this anymore.
Yeah. There's no
food change.
Well, next week looks like it'll be good. And we get all the...
Well, we didn't actually see next week. We just got the upcoming mid-season trailer.
Part of that's next week.
I don't even know what's coming up next week. I'd have to, read a synopsis somewhere.
Wherever we find one.
I don't know.
No. Should we move on to something else, or do you want to?
No, I mean, we've got the trailer, and
want to talk about anything going on in the news?
I think you want to talk about something.
No, I really don't. I was just thinking, there are things in the news that we haven't really mentioned. Teddy and what's going on with her, which I think people should mind their own business.
Right, and I just wouldn't want to hear it from the horse's mouth. I'm not laughing at Teddy. Look, I need to hear all the facts first. It's very layered, much like Salt Lake, if this is indeed true. But let's just wait to hear all the facts, not jump to conclusion.
All right.
Based on the Daily Mail.
I will have to... I mean, it seems very likely that it's true.
And I'm sure, she must be, so pissed. The Daily Mail was the ones who, leaked that she got fired. So now for them to throw this out, she's, ready to, burn that paper down to the ground.
Isn't that paper?
Is it a paper?
I don't know what that is.
Is it a paper in Britain?
Oh, I have no idea.
England?
No, I don't know. I just thought it was some horrible trash gossip blog.
I thought it was it's like the Daily Mail, it's a newspaper.
You know more about it than I do. I agree. I think that the way the fans are treating her are just...
Well, any excuse.
I know, but it's just so dumb because, one, she's not a current housewife, but people are still like, oh, she'll do anything to get back on the show. And it's just really?
See the words coming out of your mouth?
Yeah, it's exactly. Who's going to be like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to light my marriage on fire so I can get on TV.
Also, doing it in the off season, come on. She would wait till right before... Or close to the new season starting so that she could maybe get like a friend contract. Like she wouldn't just do that like as the new season's about to like come on.
Ridiculous in that regard. Yeah. And then I didn't read anything about it yet, but the idea that Kyle's apparently coming out.
I didn't read that clickbait. Hello, clickbait. Yeah. I should start reading things so I don't jump to conclusions like Seth Marks.
Yeah, exactly.
Biatch.
By the way, that means bitch.
Thank you.
Just to reiterate.
Thank you, Shawn.
Just to reiterate. But yeah, I mean, all these things, like, I don't know. Everyone just wants to jump on the bandwagon of like hating on these people.
Totally.
And again, like people don't stop and think that like really that you think someone's going to deliberately burn down their life just to have these things happen.
Yeah, it's like how they said
for a storyline.
That Kyle and Marcia were like breaking up just so she could stay on the show that she probably is like tormented about and has so much anxiety about, yet she keeps doing it.
Yeah.
That's a headline I saw too. It's like, talks to her daughters about her sexuality, came back to the show even though she didn't want to. It's like, Kyle, I would like to sit down with Kyle and be like, how do you do it? Like, what is your driving, purpose?
What's your motivation?
Yes, to stay on the show and, I guess it's a platform and it leads to so many things.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting what Jeff Lewis said on Watch What Happens Live with Psy about how, the New York women don't treat this as though it's their job. Like, as though it's like their
only job being a reality star.
Right. Yeah. So like they still have their other life going on and this is just something that they're doing in addition to that. And it made me wonder, like, and we don't need to get into it for the, this entire thing, but it does have, I couldn't help but wonder which franchises have more of an authenticity because they have other lives going on.
Because,
when cameras pick up, they don't just turn into completely different people.
Yes.
And I think right now, for the most part, I would say that I think Beverly Hills might be one of the only ones that is authentic in that way, that they don't necessarily, they have their own life going on. And then when the cameras come up, it just happens to be another thing that they're doing, similar to what.
Right.
Whereas I think Potomac.
OC definitely does not.
Yeah.
Like, I think they
make it their job, the reality show. Like, that's their only thing that they have going.
Or their main source of income, right? Or Shannon Bedore.
But yeah, Potomac, I think, is like that as well. And then, which one? Salt Lake, they're definitely doing it, but I think they have that.
Salt Lake is its own little, they have great producers on Salt Lake. Like, I think of all of them currently right now, like, they are winning with the production.
Yeah. I don't know anything about Miami, but I also get the feeling that maybe they have other things going on that they don't make their lives just about the show. So
like life stuff,
Yeah, be interesting. So I'm gonna kind of keep an eye on that moving forward. And
that was actually like he made some good points about that, and also like Amy Essie was shit talking Brad, but with the things that you're saying is things that we've said, that I think are valid.
And we're all thinking it.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that was a good point about like who is like just the show is filming their life and who like lives for the show.
Right.
It's like, is it about, wait.
Well, it goes to like kind of what Shannon said in that one clip in London.
Oh.
It was like, the show is bleeding into my real life or something.
Yeah. So,
where it's like, no, this is supposed to be your
real life.
So it's like, that's again shows that like she's putting something on for the show.
Right.
So anyway, it's just an interesting thing to have noticed. And I wanted to bring that up because I want people to just lay off of New York, give New York a chance.
Yeah.
And then I want people to stop being so happy. Oh, Dubai. Oh, blah, blah, it should have been canceled. Like, give me a break. And then, don't keep jumping to all these conclusions about all these reality stars. Like, I don't know, just give people a benefit.
People love to believe the worst in people. And, some people are just deserving of that, public figures, but others are just like out there living their lives, and there's not always an ulterior motive,
right,
or a calculation involved in just living your life,
right.
So, but a lot of cynicism.
But what do I know? I'm just a naive little, yokel from middle of nowhere. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm tired.
Same.
So, should we talk about this next time?
Till next time.